Intrinsic value. That's a word or a term we hear a lot about when we read beginners' articles about, at least opinion pieces about Bitcoin. Where does Bitcoin receive its value from? What gives value to Bitcoin? I think that's a fair question. We may not necessarily be fair in how we try to answer it, but the question is a fair question. If I were to try to compare Bitcoin to gold and say, what is the inherent value of gold? There will be people who come and say, no, but gold has proven the test of time. It has been around for thousands of years and people have recognized it as being a valuable asset. Hence, you cannot compare with gold. Let's examine that line of reasoning. Let us oversimplistically say that gold first got its value about 5,000 years ago. So, 4,999 years ago, when gold was seen as valuable for only 1 year, did it hence not have value? 4,990 years ago, when gold had been considered valuable by some people for only 10 years, did that mean that in the future it would never have any value? Of course, not everything that shines is gold, I agree. And as a consequence, not everything that initially appears to be valuable will eventually sustain its value. I buy that. I buy the fact that with barely a decade of existence, Bitcoin has not demonstrated the resilience of an asset class such as gold, which has gone for millennia. Having said that, we have to agree that whether it's gold or Bitcoin, the value that either of these asset classes possess comes because of the value that its users want to ascribe to it. Some other people will try to ascribe value to Bitcoin based on how much money it takes to create a Bitcoin through the process of mining. One of the biggest or most important raw materials to creating Bitcoin through the process of mining is electricity price, and that varies substantially across the globe. So there is no standardized cost of creation or cost of production of Bitcoin. At the same time, there is no reason to believe that if the cost of production of an asset class is X, then its value is necessarily greater than X. There have been many cases all through economic history where the value of an asset class was actually lower than the value of creating it. So I continue to accept the value of the question, what ascribes value to any asset class? So for instance, if we were to take a relatively easier to understand asset class such as stocks in a stock market, one would immediately say that this one stock or one share in company XYZ represents, let's say, 0.001% of the ownership of all the assets, all the wealth, all the value accrued by the company. Okay. But even in the case of the stock market, when there is a certain underlying value, this could be book value or it could be profit, we take a multiple of that to come up with what is the market price. What dictates this multiple? The fact is, it is all of our cumulative weighted average belief about what that multiple should be. So regardless, any asset class, ultimately the value or the market price is determined by the weighted average of all participants in that market and their belief about what the price should be. And this is true about Bitcoin too. Now what you have to do in trying to understand the stability of the price or the forecast of the price is your belief about A, will more and more people believe that Bitcoin has value or will people lose trust in it? B, will more and more people bring other forms of money such as fiat currency and buy Bitcoin, or will money leave the Bitcoin paradigm? And finally C, will some of the promise of how money should work that Bitcoin brings in this new economic paradigm of cryptocurrency, will some of that be discovered, or will this merely remain an asset that gets traded on exchanges and derives value from the differential that one trader has in the value that they ascribe to it compared to another? When you think of these three factors, I think you could start taking a view, if not of what kind of price you could expect, but at least which direction the price might be going in.